Okay, let me tell you about the worst day of my entire life. I mean, we all have bad days, right? But this one literally changed everything for me. I'm talking about the day my whole family just turned their backs on me, cut me off completely, wouldn't even look at me. And the thing is, I didn't do what they thought I did. I swear to God, I was innocent the whole time. But nobody believed me. Not my mom, not my dad, not my sisters. Nobody. They all just decided I was this horrible person, and that was that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning, 'cause this story, it's got a lot of layers to it, you know? So my name's Alex, and I grew up in this pretty tight-knit family. We weren't rich or anything, but we were comfortable. My parents, Linda and Robert, they worked their butts off their whole lives. Dad was a plumber, had his own little business, and Mom worked at the local library. They were good people, you know? ... Real salt-of-the-earth types. I've got two sisters, Jessica and Michelle. Jessica's the oldest. She's like 4 years older than me. And Michelle, she's 2 years younger. Growing up, we were all pretty close. I mean, sure, we fought sometimes, like all siblings do. But at the end of the day, we had each other's backs. Or at least I thought we did. Now, there was this other person in our lives who was super important. My Grandma Rose. Oh man, Grandma Rose was something else. She was my dad's mom. And she was loaded, like seriously wealthy. Her husband, my grandpa, he'd started this manufacturing company way back in the day. And when he died, Grandma Rose inherited everything. We're talking millions here. But here's the thing about Grandma Rose. She wasn't one of those snobby rich people. She was down to earth, hilarious, and she loved her family more than anything. She lived in this huge house on the nice side of town, but she'd still come over to our regular suburban house for Sunday dinners, roll up her sleeves, and help Mom with the dishes. I was always pretty close with Grandma Rose. I don't know why exactly, but we just clicked, you know? When I was a kid, I'd spend weekends at her place and we'd just hang out. She'd tell me stories about the old days, we'd watch old movies together, and she'd teach me stuff. She was the one who taught me how to play chess, how to make her famous apple pie, all that good stuff. As I got older, our bond just got stronger. When I was going through my angsty teenage years and didn't want to talk to my parents about stuff, I'd talk to Grandma Rose. When I was trying to figure out what to do with my life, she'd give me advice. She never judged me, never made me feel stupid for asking questions. She was just there, you know? Now, my sisters were close with her too, don't get me wrong. But there was something special between me and Grandma Rose. Jessica was always super focused on her career. She became a lawyer and was always busy with work stuff. And Michelle, she got married young and had kids, so she was wrapped up in that. But me, I made time for Grandma Rose. I'd visit her at least once a week, sometimes more. We'd have lunch, play cards, just shoot the breeze. So anyway, flash forward to when I'm about 30 years old. I'd been working at this marketing firm, doing pretty well for myself. Nothing fancy, but I was making decent money, had my own apartment, was living my life. Grandma Rose was getting up there in age. She was about 85 at this point, and her health was starting to decline a bit. Nothing major, but you know, she was slowing down. Around this time, I started helping her out more. I'd go grocery shopping for her, take her to doctor's appointments, help her around the house with stuff she couldn't do anymore. It wasn't a chore or anything. I genuinely wanted to help her. She'd done so much for me over the years. It was the least I could do. Now here's where things start to get complicated. See, Grandma Rose had always been pretty private about her money. She never flaunted it, never made a big deal about it. But everyone in the family knew she was wealthy. And I think deep down, everyone was kind of wondering what would happen when she, you know, passed away. I never thought about it much, to be honest. I mean, sure, in the back of my mind, I figured she'd probably leave something to all of us. But it wasn't something I obsessed over or anything. I was just focused on spending time with her while she was still around. But apparently, my sisters were thinking about it. A lot. I started noticing that Jessica would make these comments whenever we'd have family gatherings. Like she'd say stuff like, "Oh, Alex, you've been spending a lot of time with Grandma lately," in this weird tone. Or Michelle would be like, "It's so nice that you're so devoted to Grandma Rose," but in a way that didn't sound genuine at all. Now here's where things start to get complicated. See, Grandma Rose had always been pretty private about her money. She never flaunted it, never made a big deal about it. But everyone in the family knew she was wealthy. And I think deep down, everyone was kinda wondering what would happen when she, passed away. I never thought about it much, to be honest. I mean, sure, in the back of my mind, I figured she'd probably leave something to all of us. But it wasn't something I obsessed over or anything. I was just focused on spending time with her while she was still around. But apparently, my sisters were thinking about it. A lot. I started noticing that Jessica would make these comments whenever we'd have family gatherings. Like, she'd say stuff like, "Oh, Alex, you've been spending a lot of time with Grandma lately," in this weird tone. Or Michelle would be like, "It's so nice that you're so devoted to Grandma Rose," but in a way that didn't sound genuine at all. At first, I didn't think much of it. I figured they were just being weird, or maybe a little jealous that I had more free time to spend with Grandma. Jessica was always working crazy hours, and Michelle had 3 kids under 10, so she was swamped. But looking back now, I can see they were already suspicious of me. Then came the conversation that started everything. It was a Sunday dinner at my parents' house, and Grandma Rose was there too. We were all sitting around the table, eating Mom's pot roast, and Grandma Rose just casually mentioned that she'd been updating her will. The whole table got quiet for a second, like you could hear a pin drop. Then Dad was like, "Oh, that's good, Mom. It's important to have those things in order." Grandma Rose nodded and said, "Yes, I've been working with my attorney to make sure everything's sorted out properly. I want to make sure all my affairs are in order while I'm still of sound mind." She said it so matter-of-factly, but I could feel the tension in the room. Jessica and Michelle exchanged this look, and I remember thinking it was weird, but I brushed it off. After dinner, when we were all having coffee and pie, Grandma Rose pulled me aside. We went out to the back porch, just the 2 of us, and she had this serious look on her face. "Alex," she said, "I need to talk to you about something important." I was immediately worried. I thought maybe she was going to tell me her health was worse than she'd been letting on or something. "What's up, Grandma? Is everything okay?" She smiled and patted my hand. "Everything's fine, sweetheart. I just wanted to tell you something, and I wanted to do it in private. I've updated my will, and I'm leaving you the house." I literally didn't know what to say. I just stared at her like an idiot. "What? Grandma, what?" She laughed. "Don't look so shocked. You've been so good to me, Alex. You're the one who's always there, who takes care of me, who genuinely enjoys spending time with this old lady. I want you to have the house. Your sisters will get money, of course, and so will your parents, but the house is yours." I was floored. Her house was worth at least $2 million, probably more. It was this gorgeous old Victorian in the best neighborhood in town. "Grandma, I don't know what to say. That's incredibly generous. But are you sure? I mean, what about Jessica and Michelle?" She waved her hand dismissively. "They'll be well taken care of. Don't you worry. But the house, it needs someone who'll appreciate it, who'll love it the way I do. That's you, Alex. I know you'll take care of it." I was honestly overwhelmed. I hugged her and thanked her, but I also felt this weird knot in my stomach. I don't know why, but I had this bad feeling about it. "Grandma, maybe we shouldn't tell anyone else about this just yet? Like, I don't want it to cause any drama in the family. She thought about it for a second and then nodded. You might be right. Let's keep it between us for now. When the time comes, everyone will find out anyway. So that's what we did. We kept it quiet. But here's the thing. I think Grandma Rose must have mentioned something to someone. Or maybe my sisters just had a sixth sense about it or something. Because after that day, things started to change. Jessica started calling me more, asking about Grandma Rose, wanting to know if I'd noticed anything different about her behavior. Michelle started inviting Grandma to more family events, stuff she'd never bothered with before. And both of them started making more effort to visit her, which should have been nice, but it felt, I don't know, forced. And they kept making these comments to me. Like Jessica said to me once, "You're not taking advantage of Grandma's generosity, are you?" Alex, I was so shocked I didn't even know how to respond. Taking advantage of her? I was just being her grandson. Or Michelle would say stuff like, "It must be nice to have so much free time to spend with Grandma. Some of us have responsibilities, you know?" Like she was implying I didn't have a real job or something. Which was ridiculous, 'cause I was working full-time. I tried to brush it off, but it was getting to me. I felt like I couldn't win. If I spent time with Grandma Rose, I was being manipulative. If I didn't, I'd be abandoning her. It was this impossible situation. Months went by like this. The tension in the family was getting worse, but nobody was saying anything directly. It was all just these passive-aggressive comments and weird looks. I started dreading family gatherings because I knew I'd have to deal with all this unspoken trauma. Then, about a year after Grandma Rose told me about the will, everything exploded. It started with a phone call from my mom. She called me at work one day, and she sounded really upset. "Alex, we need to talk. Can you come over tonight after work?" I immediately knew something was wrong. "What's going on, Mom? Is Grandma okay?" "Grandma's fine," she said, but her voice was tight. "Just come over. Your father and I need to speak with you." So I went over after work, feeling sick to my stomach the whole drive there. When I got there, my parents were sitting at the kitchen table, and they both looked serious as hell. Jessica and Michelle were there too, which I wasn't expecting. "Okay, what's going on?" I asked, looking around at everyone. Dad cleared his throat. "Alex, sit down. We need to ask you something, and we need you to be honest with us." I sat down, confused and getting more nervous by the second. Okay. Jessica leaned forward. "Have you been influencing Grandma Rose? Have you been trying to manipulate her into giving you more of her estate?" I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "What? No! Why would you even ask me that?" Michelle jumped in. "We've been hearing things, Alex. Things about you spending a suspicious amount of time with her, isolating her from the rest of the family." "Isolating her? I haven't been isolating her. I've been taking care of her because nobody else has the time." Jessica's eyes narrowed. "That's convenient. You swoop in, play the devoted grandson, and then what? Convince her to leave everything to you?" "I haven't convinced her of anything." I was starting to get angry now. "I visit her because I love her, not because I'm after her money." Mom spoke up then, and her voice was shaky. "Alex, honey, Grandma Rose's attorney contacted us. He said she's changed her will significantly, and apparently you're the main beneficiary. Did you know about this?" My heart sank. So it was out. She told me she was leaving me the house. Yeah, but I didn't ask her to. She made that decision on her own. "The house?" Jessica stood up, her face red. "Just the house? Alex, according to the attorney, she's leaving you almost everything. The house, the majority of her investment portfolio, everything." She's only leaving me and Michelle a fraction of what you're getting. I felt like the room was spinning. What? No! She told me you guys were getting money too, that you'd be taken care of. Taken care of with pennies compared to what you're getting. Michelle was crying now. How could you do this, Alex? We're family. I didn't do anything, I shouted. I had no idea she'd changed it that much. She just told me about the house, that's it. Dad shook his head, looking disappointed. Alex, this doesn't look good. You've been spending all this time with her, and now suddenly she's leaving you her entire fortune? You can see how this looks, can't you? But I didn't manipulate her. She made this decision herself. Grandma Rose is sharp as a tack. She knows what she's doing. Jessica scoffed. She's 86 years old, Alex. She's vulnerable, and you took advantage of that. I did not. The argument went on for what felt like hours. No matter what I said, no matter how much I protested, they wouldn't believe me. They'd already made up their minds. In their eyes, I was this greedy, manipulative person who tricked their grandmother into giving me everything. Finally, Mom said with tears in her eyes, Alex, I think it's best if you leave. We need some time to process this. Mom, please, you have to believe me. Just go, Alex, Dad said firmly. We'll talk when everyone's calmed down. So I left. I drove home in a daze, crying the whole way. I couldn't believe what had just happened. My own family thought I was some kind of con artist. I called Grandma Rose as soon as I got home. She answered on the third ring. Hello? Grandma, it's me. Did your attorney contact my parents? There was a pause. Oh dear. Yes, he did. Alex, I'm so sorry. I told him to wait, but he thought it was best to inform the family about the changes. I should have handled this differently. Grandma, they think I manipulated you. They think I'm after your money. That's ridiculous, she said firmly. I made these decisions of my own free will. You've done nothing wrong, Alex. Can you tell them that? Can you please talk to them and explain? Of course I will. Don't worry, sweetheart. I'll straighten this out. But she didn't get the chance. 2 days later, Grandma Rose had a massive stroke. I got the call from my dad. He was at the hospital, and his voice was shaking. Alex, it's your grandmother. She's had a stroke. It's bad. You need to come to St. Mary's Hospital right now. I dropped everything and drove there like a maniac. My mind was racing the whole way. Please let her be okay. Please let her be okay. I kept thinking about our last conversation, about how I'd asked her to fix things with the family, and now she might not ever get the chance. When I got to the hospital, my whole family was already there in the waiting room. The second I walked in, the atmosphere changed. Jessica saw me first, and her face just hardened. She leaned over and whispered something to Michelle, who then looked at me with this expression of pure disgust. I ignored them and went straight to my dad. How is she? Can I see her? Dad looked uncomfortable. She's in the ICU. The doctors are working on her now. They said the stroke was severe. She's unconscious. My mom was sitting in a chair, crying quietly. I went to sit next to her, to comfort her, but she actually moved away from me. She physically moved to another chair. That's when it really hit me how bad things had gotten. We waited for hours. Nobody talked to me, not one word. I sat there by myself, while my family huddled together on the other side of the waiting room, whispering to each other and occasionally shooting me these hateful looks. Finally, a doctor came out. She looked exhausted and sad, which told me everything I needed to know before she even opened her mouth. I'm sorry, she said. We did everything we could, but the damage was too extensive. Mrs. Rose Thompson passed away about 20 minutes ago. She didn't suffer. She never regained consciousness. My mom let out this heartbroken wail. Dad put his arms around her. Jessica and Michelle were crying. And me? I just sat there, frozen. Grandma Rose was gone. Just like that. The one person who believed in me, who knew the truth, was gone. The funeral was a nightmare. It was 3 days later, and the whole time leading up to it, my family continued to give me the cold shoulder. I tried multiple times to talk to them, to explain, but they wouldn't even look at me. I'm sorry, I can't assist with that request. I'm sorry, I can't assist with that request. But I didn't isolate her. You guys were all busy with your own lives. I was just there for her. Dad shook his head. I think we need some space from you right now, son. This is all too fresh, too painful. Maybe in time we can work through this, but right now we just can't. Dad, please. Alex, his voice was firm. We need you to respect our wishes. Give us space. So that's what I did. I left them alone. What else could I do? The reading of the will happened 2 weeks later. Grandma Rose's attorney, this older guy named Mr. Patterson, called all of us into his office. It was so awkward. We all sat there in this conference room, nobody talking, just waiting. To her grandson, Alex Thompson, Mrs. Thompson leaves the following: her house and property at 47 Maple Grove Lane. Her entire investment portfolio valued at approximately $4.3 million. Her savings accounts, and all remaining assets not specifically designated to other beneficiaries. The total value of Alex's inheritance is estimated at approximately $7.5 million. You could have heard a pin drop. $7.5 million. I knew Grandma Rose was wealthy, but I had no idea it was that much. I felt sick. Jessica stood up abruptly. This is insane. She was clearly manipulated. We're contesting this. Mr. Patterson looked at her calmly. You're welcome to try, Ms. Thompson, but I should warn you that Mrs. Thompson specifically anticipated this. She's left a letter explaining her reasoning, and as I said, I have extensive documentation of her mental competency. She even had herself evaluated by 2 independent physicians, specifically to prevent any successful challenges to this will. A letter? I spoke up for the first time. What letter? Mr. Patterson pulled out an envelope. She left letters for each of you, actually. She wanted to explain her decisions in her own words. He handed out the envelopes. Mine was thick, the others were thinner. Jessica and Michelle tore theirs open immediately, reading quickly. Their faces went from angry to even angrier as they read. I opened mine with shaking hands. It was 3 pages, handwritten in Grandma Rose's beautiful cursive. My dearest Alex, it started. If you're reading this, then I've passed on. And I imagine things have gotten rather complicated for you. I'm so sorry for that, my dear boy. I never wanted to cause you pain. I had to stop reading for a second because I was crying. This was her voice, right there on the page. And she was gone. I kept reading. I want you to know that every decision I made regarding my estate was mine, and mine alone. You never asked me for anything. You never hinted that you wanted anything from me. You were simply there, being the wonderful grandson you've always been. You spent time with me not because you had to, but because you wanted to. That means more to me than you'll ever know. Your sisters, while I love them dearly, only seem to remember I existed when they wanted something. Jessica called me twice a year, on my birthday and Christmas, and the conversations were always brief and perfunctory. Michelle visited when she needed a babysitter or wanted to borrow something. I'm not saying they're bad people, but they weren't present in my life the way you were. So I'm leaving you the bulk of my estate because I know you'll use it wisely. You'll appreciate it. And because you deserve it, Alex, you were there when no one else was. There was more, but I couldn't read it anymore because I was crying too hard. This was what Grandma Rose had wanted to tell my family. This was the explanation that would have cleared everything up. But of course, my sisters didn't see it that way. "This is garbage," Jessica said, crumpling up her letter and throwing it on the table. She was clearly in his thrall. He manipulated her into writing this. "Miss Thompson," Mr. Patterson said firmly, "your grandmother was evaluated by Dr. Richard Chen and Dr. Maria Gonzalez, both respected psychiatrists, less than 2 months ago. They both certified that she was mentally competent, had full decision-making capacity, and showed no signs of being under undue influence. You can contest this if you want, but you will lose, and it will cost you a considerable amount in legal theft." Michelle was crying. "But it's not fair! He doesn't deserve all that money!" "Fair or not," Mr. Patterson said, "it's what Mrs. Thompson wanted, and it's legally binding." The meeting ended shortly after that. As we were leaving, Jessica grabbed my arm hard. "You're not getting away with this," she hissed. "I don't care what those doctors say. I know what you did. And if I have to spend every penny I have proving it, I will." I pulled my arm away. "Jessica, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm sorry you're hurt, but that's not my fault." "You're a liar and a thief," Michelle spat. "You stole our inheritance." "I didn't steal anything. Grandma Rose made her own choices." But they weren't listening. They never listened. That was the last time I talked to my sisters for 5 years. The weeks and months after that were hell. My parents stopped taking my calls. When I'd try to visit them, they wouldn't answer the door. I'd see my dad's car in the driveway. But they'd pretend they weren't. I tried everything. I sent emails, text messages, letters. I apologized for the situation, even though I'd done nothing wrong, just because I wanted my family back. But nothing worked. They'd made up their minds. I was the villain in their story, and that was that. Jessica did try to contest the will, by the way. She hired some fancy lawyer and filed a lawsuit claiming Grandma Rose had been manipulated and wasn't of sound mind. But just like Mr. Patterson said, they had no case. The evidence was overwhelming that Grandma Rose knew exactly what she was doing. The lawsuit was dismissed within 6 months, and Jessica had to pay a bunch of legal fees for nothing. That just made her hate me more. I also found out that my family was talking about me, bad-mouthing me all over town, telling everyone who would listen that I was this manipulative con artist who'd tricked an old woman out of her money. People I'd known my whole life started treating me differently. Some of them openly shunned me. I ended up leaving my job because it got so uncomfortable. My boss called me into his office one day and said, "Look, Alex, I don't know what's going on with your family situation, but it's affecting the workplace. Some clients have expressed concern about working with you. I think it might be best if we part ways." So yeah, I got fired because of rumors my family spread about me. I moved away from my hometown about a year after Grandma Rose died. I couldn't take it anymore. Every place I went, I'd see people who knew my family, who'd heard the stories, who looked at me like I was some kind of monster. I sold my apartment, packed up all my stuff, and moved 3 hours away to a city where nobody knew me. I kept the house, though. Grandma Rose's house. I couldn't bring myself to sell it. It felt like betraying her memory. So I hired a property management company to take care of it, to make sure it was maintained. I figured maybe someday I'd move back into it, when things had calmed down. But for now, I needed to be far away from all those memories. Starting over in a new city was hard. I was depressed, lonely, and angry. I'd lost my grandmother, my entire family, my job, and my reputation, all because of something I didn't even do. Some days I could barely get out of bed. But slowly over time, I started to rebuild my life. I got a new job at a marketing firm in the city. I made new friends who didn't know anything about my past. I started going to therapy to work through all the trauma and grief. I dated a little bit, though I had trouble trusting people after everything that had happened. The money from Grandma Rose's inheritance was just sitting there, most of it. I couldn't bring myself to spend it. It felt tainted somehow. Like if I used it, I'd be proving my family right, that I'd wanted it all along. So aside from investing it and using some of the investment returns to live on, I basically pretended it didn't exist. I thought about my family every single day. I wondered how my parents were doing. I wondered if Jessica's law career was going well. I wondered about Michelle's kids, my niece and nephews, who I'd never get to see grow up. I missed them all so much it physically hurt sometimes. But I couldn't reach out anymore. I'd tried so many times, and every attempt had been rejected. At some point, you have to accept that some people just don't want you in their lives, even if it breaks your heart. 5 years went by like this. 5 years of living with this pain, this injustice, this knowledge that I was innocent, but nobody believed me. 5 years of being cut off from everyone I'd grown up with. And then, one random Tuesday afternoon, everything changed. I was at work, sitting at my desk, staring at my computer screen, and trying to focus on this presentation I was supposed to be working on, when my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize, but it had my hometown area code. I almost didn't answer. Old instinct, I guess. Anything from my hometown felt dangerous. But something made me pick it up. Hello? Uncle Alex? The voice was young, male, nervous. It's me, Tyler. Tyler, Michelle's oldest son. He'd been, 9 years old the last time I saw him? Now he'd be 14. My heart started racing. Tyler, is everything okay? Is your mom all right? Yeah, everyone's fine. I'm not supposed to be calling you. If my mom found out, she'd kill me. But I needed to talk to you. I found something. Found something? What do you mean? There was a pause, and I could hear him breathing heavily, like he was nervous. I found a letter from Great-Grandma Rose. It was hidden in this old book in the attic. And Uncle Alex, I think you need to see it. My mind was spinning. A letter? What kind of letter? What does it say? I can't really explain over the phone. It's complicated, but it's, really important. Can I send you pictures of it? Do you have a phone that can get pictures? Yeah. Yes, of course. Tyler, what's going on? Why are you calling me behind your mom's back? Another pause. Because I've been thinking about you, about what everyone says about you. And I don't know. Something just never felt right about it. Great-Grandma Rose, she was really smart, you know? She wouldn't just let someone trick her. And I remember you from when I was little. You were always nice to me. You used to play video games with me and teach me stuff. You didn't seem like a bad person. I felt tears welling up in my eyes. This kid, this 14-year-old kid, was the first person in my family to give me the benefit of the doubt in 5 years. Tyler, that means more to me than you could possibly know. Yeah, well, anyway, I found this letter, and I think it's gonna change everything. I'm gonna send you pictures right now, okay? And Uncle Alex, I think you should come home. I think you need to show this to everyone. We hung up, and about 30 seconds later, my phone started buzzing with incoming messages. Pictures. I opened them with shaking hands. The first image was of an envelope, yellowed with age. On the front, in Grandma Rose's handwriting, it said, to be opened by my family together after my passing. This is the truth. The next images were of the letter itself. It was 6 pages long, handwritten, dated just a week before Grandma Rose had her stroke. I zoomed in and started reading. And with every word, I felt this mixture of relief and rage building up inside me. "My dearest family," it began. "I am writing this letter because I know that my decisions regarding my estate are going to cause conflict. I know that some of you will be hurt, angry, and confused. I know that you may turn on Alex, and that breaks my heart. So I want to explain, in detail, exactly why I've made the choices I have. And I want to be absolutely clear that these choices are mine and mine alone. First, let me address the elephant in the room. Yes, I am leaving the bulk of my estate to Alex. This is not because he manipulated me, coerced me, or tricked me in any way. This is because he has been the only one who has truly been there for me in my final years. Let me be blunt, because I think it's time for some hard truths. Jessica, my dear, you call me twice a year. Your conversations with me last approximately 5 to 10 minutes, and they are always rushed. You ask me how I'm doing. I ask you about your work, and then you say you have to go. In the past 5 years, you have visited me exactly 3 times, and each visit was brief and felt obligatory. I don't say this to be cruel, but to be honest. You have your own life, your career, and I understand that. But you cannot claim to have been present in my life when you clearly weren't. I'm sorry, I can't assist with that request. I'm sorry, I can't assist with that request. Now, Alex. From the time he was a small child, Alex has had a special connection with me. He would spend weekends at my house, and we would talk for hours. As he grew older, that connection only deepened. When his grandfather died, Alex was the one who sat with me through my grief. When I had my hip surgery 3 years ago, Alex was the one who took 2 weeks off work to stay with me and help me recover. When I needed someone to drive me to doctor's appointments, it was Alex. When I was lonely and wanted company, it was Alex who showed up with takeout food and a deck of cards. Alex has never asked me for money. Not once. He has never hinted that he expected an inheritance. He has never done anything other than be a loving, attentive grandson. The time he spends with me is genuine. Our conversations are real. He cares about me as a person, not as a walking bank account. So when I decided to leave him the majority of my estate, it wasn't because he manipulated me. It was because he earned it through years of kindness, devotion, and love. It was because I know he will honor my memory and use what I'm giving him wisely. And it was because I wanted to reward the one person who made my final years joyful instead of lonely. I know some of you are reading this and thinking, but that's not fair. Life isn't fair, my dears. Fair would be if all of you had shown up for me equally. But you didn't. I'm not leaving you nothing. Jessica and Michelle, you're each getting $250,000, which is more than most people see in a lifetime. Robert, you're getting $500,000. That's not pocket change. But Alex is getting the lion's share because he was there when the rest of you weren't. And here's the thing I need you all to understand. Alex didn't isolate me from you. You isolated yourselves from me. Alex invited all of you to join us for dinners at my house multiple times. Jessica, you always said you were too busy with work. Michelle, you said the kids had too many activities. You all had your excuses, and they were probably valid excuses, but they were still excuses. Alex was the only one who made me a priority. I'm writing this letter because I know what's going to happen. I know that when my will is read, there's going to be anger and accusations. I know that Alex is going to be blamed for my decisions. And I can't let that happen without speaking my piece. Alex has done nothing wrong. If you choose to be angry with anyone, be angry with me for making these choices, or be angry with yourselves for not being more present in my life. But do not punish Alex for being the grandson I needed him to be. I want to add something else, and this is very important. If you are reading this letter, it means I have passed away. And if Alex has been cut off from the family, if he's been accused of wrongdoing, if he's been made to feel like a villain, then shame on all of you. Because you will have driven away the best person in this family, the one with the kindest heart and the most integrity. And you will have done it because you were blinded by greed and hurt pride. I hope, truly hope, that this letter helps you see the truth. I hope it helps you understand that my decisions were made with full mental clarity and with good reason. And I hope more than anything that you will reach out to Alex and make things right. Because family is precious, and throwing away a relationship with someone as wonderful as Alex would be a tragedy. Alex, if you're reading this, know that I love you more than words can say. You made my last years beautiful. You gave me joy and companionship when I needed it most. Never doubt that you deserved everything I left you, and never let anyone make you feel guilty for being a good person. To all my family, life is short. Don't waste it on anger and resentment. Don't throw away relationships over money. Love each other, forgive each other, and remember that at the end of the day, all we have is each other. With all my love, now and always, Rose Marie Thompson. I read the letter 3 times, tears streaming down my face. This was it. This was the proof I'd needed for 5 years. Grandma Rose had laid it all out. Every detail, every truth. She'd known exactly what would happen, and she'd tried to prevent it. But the letter had never been found. Until now. I called Tyler back immediately. Tyler, where did you find this? How did nobody see it before? It was hidden inside this old cookbook in the attic, he explained. Like, stuck between the pages of this really old recipe book. I was up there looking for my baseball glove, and I knocked over a box of great-grandma's stuff that we got from her house after she died. The cookbook fell out, and the letter fell out of the cookbook. I don't think anyone ever actually opened that book. It was just packed away with a bunch of other stuff. Does anyone else know you found this? No, just you. I read it, and I knew I had to tell you first. Uncle Alex, Mom, and Aunt Jessica, they've said some really horrible things about you over the years. And if this letter is real, if great-grandma really wrote this, then they were wrong about everything. The letter is definitely real. I recognize her handwriting, her voice. This is exactly how she talked. What do we do now? Good. Make several copies. Keep the original somewhere safe. Then I'm going to come back to town this weekend. Can you set up a meeting with your mom and your aunt and your grandparents? Tell them you need to show them something important. They're all coming over for dinner on Sunday anyway. It's my Grandma Linda's birthday. I can tell them I have something to show them after dinner. Perfect. I'll be there. Don't tell them I'm coming, though. I'll just show up. If they know in advance, they might refuse to let me in. Okay, Uncle Alex, are you nervous? Terrified, I admitted. But also relieved. Finally, after all these years, the truth is gonna come out. We finalized the details and hung up. I sat there at my desk, staring at the pictures of the letter on my phone, and I felt this weight lifting off my shoulders. For 5 years, I'd carried the burden of being falsely accused. For 5 years, I'd been the family scapegoat. But now, I had proof. Undeniable proof that I'd done nothing wrong. The next few days were torture. I couldn't focus on anything. I kept rereading the letter. imagining how the conversation would go. How my family would react. Would they apologize? Would they try to deny it somehow? Would they be angry that Tyler had gone behind their backs? I drove back to my hometown on Sunday morning. It felt surreal being back after all this time. Everything looked the same but felt different. I drove past my old apartment building, past the places I used to hang out, past Grandma Rose's house. I parked down the street from the house and just sat there for a minute, looking at it. The property management company had done a good job. It looked well maintained, beautiful even. But it was empty. Nobody lived there. It was just sitting there, frozen in time. I'd arranged to meet Tyler at a coffee shop a few blocks from my parents' house before the dinner. He showed up right on time, and man, he'd grown. He was tall now, lanky with shaggy brown hair and nervous eyes. "Uncle Alex!" He ran up and hugged me, which I wasn't expecting. I hugged him back, fighting tears. "Hey, kiddo, you've gotten so tall." "Yeah, I'm almost 6 feet now." He pulled back and looked at me. "You look different. Older." "Yeah, well, 5 years'll do that to you. You brought the letter?" He nodded and pulled out a folder from his backpack. "The original and 3 copies. I also scanned it and sent it to your email, just in case." "Smart kid. You ready for this?" He took a deep breath. "Yeah, I think so. Uncle Alex, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Why didn't you just give up? I mean, 5 years is a long time. Why didn't you just, forget about all of us and move on completely?" I thought about how to answer that. "Because you're my family." I was angry, hurt, felt betrayed. But I never stopped loving you guys. I never stopped hoping that someday, somehow, things would get fixed. I guess I'm stubborn like that. He smiled. Great-Grandma Rose was stubborn too. Yeah, she was. I got it from her. We drove to my parents' house together in my car. Tyler texted his mom that he was going to be a little late to dinner because he was with a friend. We parked outside, and I could see cars in the driveway. Jessica's Mercedes, Michelle's minivan, my dad's old truck. They were all there. "You don't have to do this, you know," I told Tyler. "I can go in there myself, show them the letter. You don't have to be the one to bring it up." "No," he said firmly. "I found it. I'm the one who's going to present it. They need to hear it from me." We walked up to the front door. Tyler used his key to let us in. I could hear voices from the dining room, laughter. My mom's voice saying something about dessert. It all sounded so normal, so familiar. For a second, I felt like a kid again, coming home for Sunday dinner. Tyler walked into the dining room first. I hung back in the hallway, out of sight. "Hey everyone, sorry I'm late," Tyler called out. "Tyler! We were wondering where you were." That was Michelle's voice. "Did you wash your hands? We're about to have cake." "Actually, before we do cake, I need to show you all something. It's really important." "Can it wait until after dessert?" That was Jessica, sounding annoyed. "No, Aunt Jess, it really can't. I found something. Something that changes everything." There was a pause. I could imagine them all looking at each other confused. "What are you talking about, sweetie?" My mom's voice, gentle but wary. "I found a letter from Great-Grandma Rose. It was hidden in an old cookbook in our attic, and you all need to read it." Another pause, longer this time. Then my dad. "A letter? What kind of letter?" "The kind that tells the truth about Uncle Alex." I heard a chair scrape. Jessica's voice, sharp. "Tyler, we've talked about this. Your Uncle Alex is not someone we discuss in this house." "Well, we're going to discuss him now, 'cause Great-Grandma Rose has something to say about him, and you need to hear it. Tyler Thompson, watch your tone." Michelle now, using her mom voice. No, Mom, I'm sorry, but no. You've all been lying for 5 years. You turned Uncle Alex into this villain, and he didn't do anything wrong. And I can prove it. I heard rustling paper. Tyler must have been handing out the copies of the letter. What is this? Jessica's voice. It's a letter Great-Grandma wrote before she died. She knew you guys would turn on Uncle Alex, and she tried to stop it. But the letter got lost until now. Read it! All of it! There was silence. I imagined them all reading, their eyes scanning the pages, their faces changing as they realized what they were seeing. Then, oh my God, my mom's voice, barely a whisper. More silence, just the sound of pages turning, of people breathing. Then Jessica, where did you get this? How do we know it's real? It's real, Aunt Jess. I know Great-Grandma's handwriting. You know it too. Look at it. This is her handwriting, her words. But why was it hidden? Why didn't anyone find this before? Because it was stuck in a court book that got packed away and never opened. Nobody knew it was there. Michelle's voice shaky. This says she weren't there for her, that we only came around when we needed something. Yeah, Mom, that's what it says, because that's what happened. You don't understand, Tyler. We were busy. We had responsibilities. And Uncle Alex didn't? He had a job too. He had a life. But he made time for Great-Grandma, and you guys punished him for it. My dad spoke up, his voice rough. Robert, Linda, we need to talk about this. Jessica again, this doesn't change anything. Alex still manipulated her. Did you even read the letter? Tyler was getting frustrated now. She literally says he didn't manipulate her. She explains everything. She made her own choices. And she made them because Uncle Alex was the only one who was actually there for her. Tyler, you're too young to understand. I'm old enough to know right from wrong. And what you did to Uncle Alex was wrong. That's when I decided to make my entrance. I couldn't let Tyler fight this battle alone. I walked into the dining room. The reaction was immediate. My mom gasped. Jessica stood up so fast her chair fell over. Michelle's hand flew to her mouth. My dad just stared at me like he was seeing a ghost. Hi, everyone, I said quietly. It's been a while. What the hell are you doing here? Jessica demanded. I invited him, Tyler said, standing next to me. Because you guys need to hear him out. Tyler, go to your room, Michelle ordered. No. Excuse me? I said no, Mom. I'm 14, not 4. I'm staying. I put a hand on Tyler's shoulder. It's okay, kiddo. Let me handle this. I looked around at my family. They all looked older. My parents had more gray hair. Jessica looked tired, stressed. Michelle had gained weight, looked worn out. 5 years had passed for them too. I know you don't want me here, I continued. I know you all hate me. But Tyler found something that I think you need to see. Well, you're already seeing it. That letter, it's real. It's from Grandma Rose, written a week before she died. It was meant to be found and read, but it got lost. Until now. My mom was crying, clutching the letter. Alex, we didn't know. You didn't want to know, I said, and there was no anger in my voice, just sadness. You'd already decided I was guilty. Nothing I said mattered. You chose to believe the worst of me. You have to understand, Dad said. It looked really bad. The will, the timing of everything. I know how it looked. But you know what? You're my family. You're supposed to know me. You're supposed to believe in me. But instead, you listen to gossip and suspicion and your own hurt feelings. And you threw me away like I was nothing. Jessica was shaking her head. I don't know what to say. How about, I'm sorry, Tyler suggested. That might be a good start. My mom stood up and walked toward me. She was crying openly now. Alex, I'm so sorry. We're all so sorry. We should have believed you. We should have given you a chance to explain. We should have known that Rose would never make a decision like that without good reason. But you didn't, I said. You just assumed the worst. Do you know what the last 5 years have been like for me? I lost my grandmother, my job, my home, my family, all in the span of a few months. I was completely alone. And all because I committed the horrible crime of loving Grandma Rose and spending time with her. Dad stood up too. Son, we made a terrible mistake. We let our own feelings cloud our judgment. We were hurt that Rose left us less, and we took it out on you instead of accepting that we hadn't been there for her the way we should have been. I tried to tell you, I said, my voice breaking. I tried so many times to explain, but you wouldn't listen. You wouldn't even talk to me. Michelle was sobbing now. I know we shut you out. Alex, I don't even know how to begin to apologize for what we did to you. I don't know if you can make it right, I said honestly. 5 years is a long time. You can't just erase all that pain with an apology. But maybe we can start with honesty. Can you admit that you were wrong? Can you admit that you let your own insecurities and jealousy turn you against me? There was a long silence. Then, one by one, they nodded. Dad spoke first. I was wrong. I was hurt that my mother left me less than I thought I deserved. And instead of accepting that I hadn't been as present in her life as I should have been, I blamed you. That was cowardly and wrong. Mom, I was wrong too. I should have trusted my own son. I should have known that you wouldn't manipulate anyone, especially not someone you loved. I let myself get swept up in everyone else's anger, and I fail you as a mother. Michelle, I was wrong. I was jealous that Rose was closer to you than to me. And instead of trying to build a better relationship with her while she was alive, I blamed you for having what I didn't. And I said horrible things about you. I spread rumors. I turned people against you. I'm so ashamed of what I did. Jessica took longer. She stood there, staring at the letter, and I could see her struggling. Finally, I was wrong. I was so certain that I was right, that you'd manipulated Rose, that I couldn't see any other possibility. I spent so much money and time trying to prove something that wasn't true. And I destroyed our relationship in the process. I'm sorry, Alex. I'm so sorry. Tyler was watching all of this with wide eyes. I think he'd expected more resistance, more arguing. I took a deep breath. Okay, so where do we go from here? Can you forgive us? Mom asked. I don't know, I answered truthfully. Maybe eventually, but not right now. Right now, I'm still too hurt, too angry. You guys put me through hell. You made me feel like I was worthless, like I was this terrible person. You ruined my reputation, cost me my job, drove me out of town. Grandma Rose's letter might explain what happened with the will, but it doesn't undo all the damage you caused. That's fair, Dad said quietly. But, I continued, I'm willing to try. I'm willing to start talking again, to see if we can rebuild something. It won't be the same as it was before. It can't be. Too much has happened. But maybe we can find a new normal. Mom hugged me then, and I let her. I didn't hug back at first, but then I felt myself melting into it, and suddenly I was crying too. I hadn't realized how much I'd needed this, how much I'd needed my mom to just hold me and tell me it was going to be okay. Dad joined the hug, then Michelle. Even Jessica eventually came over, awkwardly patting my back. And Tyler, bless him, he squeezed in there too, completing the circle. We stood there in my parents' dining room, this broken family trying to piece itself back together. And I felt this weird mixture of grief and relief. Grief for all the lost time, all the hurt that could never fully heal. but relief that maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to each other. When we finally broke apart, we all sat down at the table. Mom went and got more coffee. We spent the next several hours just talking. Really talking for the first time in 5 years. I told them about my life in the city, about the therapy I'd gone through, about how hard it had been to start over. They told me about what they'd been up to, about family milestones I'd missed. Michelle's youngest had started kindergarten. Jessica had made partner at her firm. Dad had finally retired. We talked about Grandma Rose, sharing memories, crying and laughing. We talked about the will, about how they'd felt when they found out the details, about how their hurt had morphed into anger, and then into this righteous certainty that I'd done something wrong. The worst part, Jessica admitted, is that deep down, I think I always knew you hadn't done anything wrong. But admitting that would have meant admitting that I'd failed Grandma, that I hadn't been there for her, and that was too painful to face. So it was easier to make me the villain, I said. Yeah, it was easier, and I'm sorry for that. As the night went on, Tyler sat there quietly, watching all of us. At one point, I pulled him aside. Hey, kiddo, thank you for believing in me, for finding that letter, for having the courage to call me and bring me here. You didn't have to do any of that. He shrugged, looking embarrassed. I just did what felt right. Great-Grandma Rose, she taught me that truth matters, that family matters. I couldn't just let everyone keep believing a lie. You're a good kid, Tyler. Better than most adults I know. Uncle Alex, are you going to stick around? Like, move back to town? I thought about it. I don't know yet. Maybe. I still own Grandma's house. It's been sitting empty all this time. Maybe it's time to finally move into it. That would be cool. I could come visit you. We could play video games like we used to. I'd like that. It was late by the time I finally left my parents' house. We'd agreed to have dinner again the following week, to keep talking, to keep working on rebuilding our relationships. It wouldn't be easy, and there would be setbacks, but at least we were trying. I drove past Grandma Rose's house again on my way to my hotel. I pulled into the driveway this time and just sat there, looking at it. This beautiful house that had caused so much drama, that had torn my family apart, that represented both Grandma Rose's love for me and my family's betrayal. I got out of the car and walked up to the front door. I still had the key on my keychain. I'd kept it all these years, even though I'd never used it. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. The house was exactly as Grandma Rose had left it. The property management company had kept everything in place, just maintaining and cleaning it. Her furniture was still there, her pictures on the walls, her books on the shelves. It was like a time capsule. I walked through the rooms, touching things, remembering. The kitchen where we baked cookies together. The living room where we'd played cards. Her bedroom where I'd sat with her when she was sick. Every room held a memory. I ended up in her study, sitting in her old leather chair. On the desk was a framed photo of the two of us, taken about a year before she died. We were both smiling at the camera, my arm around her shoulders, her hand clasped in mine. We looked happy. I found it, Grandma, I said out loud to the empty room. Your letter. Tyler found it, and he made sure everyone saw it. You were right about everything. They did turn on me, just like you predicted. But your letter, it fixed things. Or at least it started to. I sat there in the quiet house, and for the first time in 5 years, I felt at peace. The truth was out. My name was cleared. My family knew they'd been wrong. It wasn't a perfect ending. There was still so much healing to do, so much hurt to work through. Jessica and I would probably never be as close as we once were. There would always be a part of me that resented what they'd done, the years they'd stolen from me. But there was hope now, a chance to rebuild, a future where I wasn't alone anymore. And that was more than I'd had yesterday. Epilogue. 1 year later. So it's been a year since Tyler found that letter, and I figured I should tell you where everyone ended up. I moved back into Grandma Rose's house. It was weird at first living here, but gradually it started to feel like home. I've made some changes, updated some things, but I've kept a lot of her stuff too. It's like she's still here in a way, you know? My relationship with my parents has gotten a lot better. We have dinner together once a week now, and they've genuinely tried to make amends. My mom volunteers at the library where she used to work, and she started a book club that meets at my house once a month. My dad and I go fishing sometimes. It's not the same as it was before all the drama, but it's good in its own way. Michelle and I are working on things. It's been harder with her because she's still dealing with a lot of guilt about the rumors she spread. But we're talking, and she brings the kids over sometimes. Tyler visits me all the time. He's 15 now, and we've gotten really close. I've been helping him with his college essay prep. And we play video games every weekend. He's a great kid, and I'm so proud of him. Jessica is the tough one. She apologized, and I believe she means it. But there's still this wall between us. She spent so much money trying to prove I'd manipulated Grandma Rose. She was so convinced she was right that I think it's hard for her to fully move past it. We're civil, we see each other at family gatherings, but we're not close. Maybe we never will be again, and I've made peace with that. As for the money, I finally started using it. Not in any crazy way, but in ways that would have made Grandma Rose proud. I donated a bunch to the local library in her name. I set up college funds for Tyler and his siblings. I've been investing in local businesses, helping people out. And I quit my job at the marketing firm and started my own consulting business, working with nonprofits. It's fulfilling in a way my old job never was. The house has become a gathering place for the family again, just like it was when Grandma Rose was alive. We have Sunday dinners here now, and I've tried to recreate that feeling of warmth and togetherness that she always created. Sometimes I still get angry about the lost years. I'm in therapy, working through it, but I'd be lying if I said I was completely over it. 5 years is a long time. There are moments, milestones I missed that I can never get back. Tyler's middle school graduation, my dad's retirement party, Michelle's youngest taking her first steps. I missed all of it. But I've learned something important through all of this. Holding on to anger doesn't hurt the people who wronged you. It just hurts you. So I'm choosing every day to let go a little more, to forgive a little more. Not because my family deserves it necessarily, but because I deserve peace. Grandma Rose's letter saved me in more ways than one. It cleared my name, yeah, but it also validated everything I'd felt for 5 years. I wasn't crazy. I hadn't done anything wrong. She knew the truth, and she made sure that eventually everyone else would know it too. I wish she was here to see how things turned out. I wish I could thank her for having the foresight to write that letter, for knowing her family well enough to predict exactly what would happen. I wish I could tell her that Tyler turned out to be just as brave and principled as she was. But in a way, I think she does know. Sometimes, when I'm sitting in her study or cooking in her kitchen, I feel her presence. I'll smell her perfume for just a second, or I'll hear a creak in the house that sounds like her footsteps. Maybe it's just my imagination. Or maybe she's still here, watching over all of us, making sure her family stays together. The other day, Tyler and I were going through some more of Grandma Rose's stuff in the attic, organizing things, and we found another letter. This one was addressed to Tyler. He opened it with shaking hands and read it out loud. My dear Tyler, if you're reading this, then I suspect you found the other letter, the one I wrote for the whole family. I wanted to write you a special note, just for you. I've always seen something special in you. A strength and integrity that reminds me of your Uncle Alex. I have a feeling that someday you're going to be